What's up, Bears fans? Welcome back from the bye week. This is the CHGO Bears Podcast, presented by DraftKings. Use that code CHGO. Download the app. When you sign up, use that code, and you'll be ready to go with DraftKings. What's going on? Adam, Hoge, Mark Carman, Corey Wootton's with us remotely today for the whole show. I don't know if we're rested from the bye week, but we're back from the bye week.
Bonjour, monsieur. Huh?
Yes.
I feel very rested, but maybe, those of us who travel the world and just do things that is just super impressive, perhaps you're not. But I know me and Woot are rested. Right, Woot? We're ready today, baby.
We're ready to go. The silver fox over there, Mark Carman. And I'm not talking about George Clooney. I know you don't have a tequila deal, but you should have one, man.
Let me tell you something. I got spiffed up yesterday because I didn't know what to do with myself. We didn't have a show. I was out at your alma mater, Woot, watching Northwestern basketball. Doing a little, how about those cats? And then I was like, I'm going to get myself fresh for Monday so I can be really ready for the final 4 games here. Damn it, let's go.
Yeah, that should last you the last 4 games.
Yeah, I think this is good for the last 4.
You're good to go.
When this thing gets long, I start looking old. I like a nice, fresh, close. Let's get in that youthful
High and tight,
flavor.
baby.
Yeah, let's go.
High and tight.
Let's go. By the way, I'm wearing my Bulls CHGO shirt because what an effort last night. And I don't know who the hell AJ Griffin is, but that was a ridiculous moment in time for those of us
Dookie.
Bears/Bulls fans. That sucked.
Isn't he Adrian Griffin's son?
Yes.
Yeah.
Former Bull, Adrian Griffin.
Yeah, I didn't know that,
Well,
to be honest, at all.
That was stressful.
That was awful.
He is the third youngest NBA player and a rookie and has 2 game-winning shots in his career now. Steph Curry has 1. Just so you're all aware.
Clutch, Mr. Clutch over there.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know Steph only had 1. Corey, how was your bye?
Man, it was good, man. Got some golfing in, went to the simulator a little bit, worked out, did a couple bicep curls, the usual.
I was going to say, you look like you were you just walked off the simulator. Now you're ready to go.
No, I walk from the gym,
Yeah.
because I got to get these gains in. I can't have Carmen show me up, with those ankles. So I was doing strictly calves today. I had to keep the ankle calf region looking right.
If we're going down that road, Woo, just know 3 yogas last week for me. Not 1, not 2, 3. Flexibility is coming up. Tennis match yesterday. 6'3", 6'0". Sit the hell down, whatever your name is. I don't know who he was, but he did not belong on the court with someone of my talent. No, Saturday.
Sampras over here. Let's go.
No, not quite. Saturday I lost 1-1 to some guy who just looked at me and didn't say a word and just walked off the court and said bye. That was
Really?
I mean, basically, he just walked out there in tennis. And
He went Tom Brady on you.
Yeah, we got to get back to the show here. Tom Brady's done, by the way. That team is over.
Washed.
Wow, that's a bold.
That team's terrible. That was America's game of the week, and they turned it off in the 3rd friggin' quarter. That's how bad that game was.
That was insane.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
The Lions are the best team in football, by the way. We're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about before we get there. We got takeaways from the bye week. We're going to talk about all those things.
Okay.
But I do want to share a couple things from my my quick trip abroad.
Oh, great!
To Paris, and some are sports related.
I didn't know we were doing this at the start. This is lovely. Okay,
Well, we're coming off the bye.
Hoge and Paris. Here we go.
The Bears didn't do anything over the weekend, which was kind of nice.
Wasn't there one piece of news? Oh, no, that was, we learned this morning that...
This morning, we found out Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon will be back this week.
Yeah.
Matty Eberflus said that on his weekly BBM appearance this morning, which was nice of him to share. So you got that to look forward to. Okay.
My bad, Rob. Settle down, Don Burr.
This is why I love sports, though.
Okay.
Because, the one thing you realize when you travel abroad, and you were just in Dublin for the Northwestern game a couple months ago.
The one cat win.
You do gain kind of an amazing appreciation for how, different cultures really are. And I know that sounds like an obvious statement, but, until you're, there and you experience it, even just, little things like how they make a ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
And how much better it is, by the way.
Wait, jambon de bear? Huh?
Yes, sure.
On a croissant, it's so much better.
Yeah,
Papas Bravas is a big thing in Spain. You get the toothpick with the potatoes and a little orange sauce on it.
Yeah.
You stick the toothpick in there. I mean, that was 2005. I assume they're still doing that. I haven't been overseas in in a minute, but it was amazing in 2005 when I had my first midlife crisis.
Again, I feel like I need to remind you, you were overseas 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, right. That counts. But that was different. This was more. That was a work trip. That was when I was.
But I don't know. Anyway, where I'm going with this though is then you have like an event like the World Cup, and no matter like how different all these cultures are, like this one sport that the rules are all the same and the players are all like, I mean, obviously they're not all at the same level because some teams are better than others, but like you still have like a team like Morocco that upset Portugal the other night.
First African team to make the semifinal in the World Cup.
Right.
In history.
And then you see, I had no idea, but there's an enormous Moroccan population in Paris.
All right.
And the celebration on Champs-Élysées when we got back there.
Where?
Champs-Élysées.
Oh.
Les Champs-Élysées.
Yeah, I said it the American way, I think.
I didn't know Lawrence had this talent.
Did you see my tweet? They're lighting fireworks off. The riot police were out there. We got off the metro, and there's a line of riot police between us and our hotel that was 50 yards away. It was a little intimidating, not going to lie. How do we get to the hotel?
What did you do? You should have jumped in and just acted like you were Moroccan and had some fun.
Well, we kind of blended in with the crowd, and eventually just wandered through there. But you could tell even the hotel staff when we got back in the hotel was like a little on edge. It was a little weird, but also cool because it was just like this massive sports celebration. And it's just like, I don't know, sports are awesome. That's all. That's the main takeaway from that. Is it's just like no matter where you are, to have that type of fandom and celebration and whatever it is, it kind of reminded me of those nights when the Blackhawks were on their cup run or the Cubs were in the World Series and like you'd be on the red line and like people were just going nuts and then you get, and you get off at the right station and there's like a party going on the right street.
You just made me. First of all, Hoge went to Paris to figure out that sports are amazing. They needed the exclamation point.
Well, we live in Chicago. I don't know if you noticed, all our teams are bad.
Yeah, it's a tough time right now.
But it's crazy how big soccer is right over there. Like in our country, soccer is like last on the totem pole. You know what I mean? I think football's number one, basketball's number two, baseball's three, soccer's four. I think that's how it goes. Baseball used to be America's pastime. I feel like it's third. I think football is king. Football is king in our country.
Oh yeah, here without a doubt.
Yeah, by 8 million miles. But by the way, to your point about how all our teams stink, listen, CHGO, we didn't want to start when everybody was winning dynasties. We didn't want to start when we had title contenders. We wanted to start at the bottom and get the true and utter diehards. By the way, become a diehard. allchgo.com and as we build this thing to championship level, which is happening at any moment now. Let's go. Bear down / everyone else.
All right. Last thing, though, and then I promise we're going to jump into the NFL and the Bears. Corey will appreciate this as somebody who I know takes a train places. High-speed rail is incredible. I'm not a bold take here. I understand it. But it's like we went to a town on the France-Germany border and got there in an hour and 40 minutes. It was 5 hours. It was a 5-hour drive away. So, like, kind of the difference between Chicago and St. Louis, Woot. And we're there in an hour, 40 minutes, which I did the math, is the same time it takes to take the Metro train from Fox Lake to Union Station.
Did it feel like you were going super fast?
Yes.
It did.
You're, like, flying on this thing, and you're like, wow, we are.
Like, so when you're walking up and down, like, go to the bathroom, are you a little nervous?
No, it's kind of like just getting like up on a plane to go to the bathroom.
But like in a plane, I don't know I'm going fast. I'm just like on this thing.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. There is at one point, my wife did turn to me and goes, "What happens if a deer just wanders onto the tracks?"
Trouble. That deer's done.
I think it's trouble for the deer. I don't think it's trouble for the train. But I don't know.
I've been on one of those overseas in Amsterdam. It's pretty dope. You get anywhere quick, and that's the greatest part about it. Like it's so convenient, as opposed to having to get on a flight, even if it's really close. It just cuts the travel time, and it's so efficient.
Did you drink on it? Do you eat?
Oh, yeah,
what do you do?
There's a bar car.
I love trains.
Yeah, they got food. They got the whole bit, Carm. But you got to try it.
But it's just like, I don't know. We can't have that here.
I think we can. We just got to
Corey Wootton can't get to St. Louis in an hour and a half.
Why can't Woot get to St. Louis in an hour and a half?
That'd be nice. Instead, I got to drive up. 4.5 hours.
It's just amazing. Like I don't know.
We'll get there.
Good job.
Sorry, I was slow on this.
Hope probably blended in over there with that haircut. They probably thought he was a footballer over there. You got the football cut, man.
What?
Well, there's definitely a moment where like they don't know if you're French or American until you talk, and then they realize it. So like,
Were they nice to you?
oh yeah, that was another thing. Like I think there's
stupid American.
well, there's definitely like like a narrative that the French hate us, and maybe they do, but I don't know. We had 98% very nice interactions with everybody.
All right, more importantly, what's the best piece of food you ate?
Oh man,
Les escargots, les steak frites, huh?
He's a voice actor over there, Lawrence.
Steak frites, so good. Give me a chocolate croissant. Give me a Monte Cristo. Give me something over here.
Probably the best was actually when we were in Strasbourg, which is close to Germany. The German meal we had, which was like actually
strudel.
It was basically lox, but on potato cakes instead of bagels.
Yeah, we're getting close. Now we're cooking with gas.
And it was incredible.
So your best French meal was actually German.
Maybe.
Okay.
There used to be a great German deli out in Deerfield that went away. That place was unbelievable back in the day. That probably nobody knows what I'm talking about, but trust me, it was fantastic.
No, and then you told me to have that ham sandwich.
Jambon et beurre.
And it was like, yeah, the ham's inside, but the cheese is actually on top, and then it's almost like broiled, where like they just like.
Oh, that's not actually what I was just. Yeah, croque monsieur.
You had a croque monsieur.
Sure, whatever.
Oui.
It was great. It was outstanding.
I was just saying, get a baguette that has ham on it and butter.
Did you drink a lot of wine?
Walk around the park.
Not really.
No, more beer, but and that's the one thing I have to say. The beer in America is better. That's the one thing I think we do better.
American beer better than French beer?
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm very jealous. I would have loved a quick trip to Paris. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. And hey, for real though, like our wives and significant others put up with a lot in football season. So if I give my wife a 3-day trip to Paris in bye week, it was worth it. It was awesome.
Happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So you're saying you didn't really enjoy the trip at all?
No, that's not at all what I'm saying. It was great.
Did you hear that, Woot? Because I just think I just heard that. I would have rather home watching football, but if I could do this.
No. Here's another great thing that blows me away is airplanes. Even though I've been on them a million times, is you can get on a plane in Paris at 12:30 and land in Chicago at 1:30 and be home on your couch in time for the late afternoon games.
That's a good job. That's impressive.
That blows me away too.
Did you sleep on the plane?
Day.
Yeah, got a nice 4-hour nap. Felt good.
Hoge's an elite sleeper. If you could go 4 hours, that's a good job right there.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
Quality REM over there.
All right, let's.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for humoring me with some bye week talk. Let's jump into our biggest takeaways from Sunday's game because I not only was able to get home and watch a lot of the football, they had the Eagles-Giants game on the plane. So I was actually able to watch that. It wasn't the most entertaining game. But I'll start with the biggest, as we go through our biggest takeaways from Sunday's games, and, we'll see if there's a connection to the Bears on some of these. But you got to pay attention to the Detroit Lions right now.
Yeah?
They got an outside chance to sneak into the playoffs, and regardless of whether they're able to do that or not, they seem to be buying in, and their teardown that they went through, and this is maybe where there's a connection to the Bears because they really tore this thing down last year. Traded away their quarterback. Now they're in a different position, obviously, with not having a young Justin Fields like quarterback right now, which they could have had if they and they probably should have had. But Jared Goff's playing pretty well right now. I have to say, I have to give the guy credit. He is playing pretty well right now. Statistically, he's up there with some of the top quarterbacks, and they're on a roll right now. It's impressive.
The Lions should be at bare minimum 7-6, if not 8-5. They've had incredibly tough losses to the Eagles, best team in the NFC. Tough loss on Thanksgiving to Buffalo, who they're right there as far as the AFC is concerned. I wouldn't put them at the top, but maybe number 2. Crusher to Seattle, 48-40. They've had just a lot of tough losses. They had control of that football game all day yesterday for the most part.
They're playing really good, and Hoge, like you said, Jared Goff is stepping up because I don't think anybody really believed in him, to be honest with you. I don't even know if the coaching staff in Detroit did when the season first started. So he's playing lights out, and you can make an argument right now, the way they're playing right this second, not their overall record, that they're the best team in the NFC North the way they're playing right now. You can make that argument all day, right? They played the Vikings, beat them, and the previous game as well, they took them down to the wire. They were up most of the game and just couldn't finish at that point. So now I think they got things figured out of how to play as a team and really at all 3 phases, and that's what they're doing well. I think, what do they have, a 5-game winning streak, I believe? Is that what it is, 5-game winning streak?
Detroit has won 5 of 6.
Yeah, because they had the Thanksgiving loss to the Bills, but I mean, even that game, they were in it. That was a tough one, and they could have won that. So even in their one loss, they played pretty well in that game. Woot, I'll take it a step further because, right now they're not in the playoffs. I agree. It's going to be hard for them and almost impossible for them to chase down the Vikings in the North, obviously. But
they got to win out to make the playoffs too, most likely.
They're at least the 5th best team in the NFC right now. And it wouldn't be if you're arguing that they're better than the Vikings right now, they're the 4th best team in the NFC because you got Philly, San Francisco, Dallas, and then Minnesota. So if they're playing better than the Vikings right now, they're the 4th best team in the NFC.
And I respect the Niners too, who have won 6 in a row, and that's going to be my biggest takeaway. We'll get to it in a second. But Brock Purdy's getting looked at for an oblique injury. It could be down to Josh Johnson, their 4th-string quarterback. So if that happens, I don't know. Maybe if you had to bet who was winning a game between the Lions and the Niners, you'd take Detroit.
But even Brock Purdy, I mean, he doesn't have the experience in the playoffs. I'm not buying that for 1 second because playoff football is different, right? I know every game matters in the NFL, but big stage when you're going up in the playoffs, I'm not betting my season on Brock Purdy, right? If I had Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy that's had experience, that limits his turnovers in situations like that, then I could go with the 49ers potentially to make a run. But I'm not buying Brock Purdy, to be honest with you. So
I'm 100%.
For that reason, I got to eliminate them.
Did you watch him yesterday, Woot, at all?
Hold on. That pass that he threw to Ayuk was terrible.
It was terrible. That should have been picked.
Yeah. Ayuk had to wait a second and a half.
Carm, Brock Purdy, it always becomes this. Bailey Zappi, right? Bailey Zappi has a couple games. Now Brock Purdy. 49ers have one of the best defenses in the game, right? You can rely on the running game, the play action. But in the playoffs, Carm, when everybody's a competitor, when we got defenses that actually can play, not like the Buccaneers under Todd Bowles, right? They're supposed to be a defensive team. Yeah, right. They get beat all year long on the double moves. I'm not buying it.
Okay, well, and listen, Jimmy G very well may be back for the playoffs and all that.
Probably not.
But maybe not exactly. And I don't want to sit here and be like, I'm Johnny Brock Purdy. But I am Johnny. My takeaway here is, dude, that was the last guy drafted last year, 7th round, last dude, Mr. Irrelevant. And he's starting and winning football games. And he doesn't have the physical tools. And I'm looking at, Bears backups and just drafting quarterbacks, period. And I'm hoping that the Bears will at least follow that, that thought process next year.
Well, those are two different things. And first of all, I'm the one banging the drum every year, take more and more swings at quarterbacks. I think you need to do that. So credit to the 49ers for doing that with the last pick in the draft this past year, because now it's paying dividends. Once again, though, I'm going to do the Brock Purdy landed in the exact right situation. He wouldn't be doing this on the Chicago Bears. Brock Purdy, and credit Kyle Shanahan, credit the 49ers, because there's some of this even with Jimmy Garoppolo, who I don't want to take anything away from, but this is a system right now that's working. Yeah. And to their credit, they can have Garoppolo go down and somebody like Brock Purdy come in and run the ball, not screw up, let the defense win games. But that's another reason why in this weak NFC, I'm not ruling out the idea, though, that the 49ers can still get to the Super Bowl. They were in the NFC Championship game again last year, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did it again this year.
All true. And what they wrote about Purdy when the Niners drafted him, I looked that up. Purdy's college production and intangibles make him a prime practice squad stash with a shot of making an active roster for a timing offensive system like San Francisco's. His marginal physical traits will always be a hindrance, but his natural throwing ability and feel for the position should aid him as he competes for a backup role. They basically wrote what you just said, that this dude fits in what San Francisco does, which is all I'm saying that the Bears should do, by the way. Get somebody who is Justin Fields light, and as much as credit to Trevor Siemian for being a good guy in that locker room and veteran leader and helping guys along, but I would hope that at this point, Fields is confident enough that he can have somebody underneath him, not that he's going to take his job, but who could step in and be a developmental candidate in case something does happen where the dude gets an actual real injury, which could very well happen because he's a quarterback in the NFL, period, let alone the way he plays. It just would make a lot of sense to me.
Exactly. But for Brock Purdy, real quick, I got to see how he's going to be at the Seahawks if he's playing this week, right? At Seattle, at the 12th man, with the crowd rocking, the adjustments, because when you're at home and the crowd noise isn't a factor, everything's a little bit easier, Carm. So I got to see that. And then he's got Washington. He's got Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen breathing down his neck. Then he's got the Raiders. He's got Max Crosby. He's got Chandler Jones. I got to see how he does against that, right? Because Mike McGlinchey, that right tackle, Max Crosby is going to eat him for breakfast. I'll tell you that.
No bet. We're talking about Brock Purdy because he's a quarterback winning games on a team that's going to the playoffs, and he was the last guy drafted. And do you remember who we took in the 7th round? We took Trenton Gill, greatest punter in the history of the game. Love Trenton Gill, but so good pick. And then we took Elijah Hicks and Jatiri Carter. And that's not the point either, just who they took. Just swings at quarterbacks in later rounds. It's some. I don't know. I remember this guy that didn't Jacksonville draft him, and he was traveling around the country, and he was in Gardner Minshew for a minute there.
Oh yeah,
that was a 6th round pick. Wasn't there a guy playing yesterday who was the GOAT, who was a late round pick? People miss. Football is not an easy game to evaluate. Do your best to pick a late-round quarterback who doesn't necessarily have all the physical traits but somehow wins games. Those guys are interesting to me.
Well, yesterday was just remarkable in that, as Lawrence said earlier, I mean, they kicked Tom Brady off the national broadcast by the middle 3rd quarter.
Game was terrible.
Because he was getting his ass kicked by Brock Purdy.
Yeah, that is kind of amazing.
Like, what? What?
I mean, it was boring as hell.
Which brings up a couple things here that we got to talk about real quick, which is, I mean,
draft quarterbacks.
Carolina Panthers could still make the playoffs. In the NFC North, they're 4-4 since they fired Matt Rule.
South.
What's that?
You said North.
South, yeah.
Oh, sorry. The
Close
NFC
enough.
South. And it's going to be an interesting game in a couple weeks. The Lions go to Carolina in a game that could suddenly matter a lot. The Lions go to the Jets this weekend. That early line on that game is a pick-em, Corey. I mean, the Jets, here's the Lions' remaining schedule. At New York Jets, at Carolina Panthers, home against the Bears in Week 17, and then at the Green Bay Packers in Week 18. If you had to guess, how many of those games do the Lions win, Corey? Do you think they have an outside chance of sneaking into the playoffs?
I do. I think they got a strong chance to win all those games. You look at momentum, right? Throughout the season, there's always like that one team. Kind of reminds me a lot of Washington Redskins back when they were the Redskins when RG3 was the quarterback. Remember how they started and how they finished? It kind of reminds me a lot of this Detroit team, right? They're reinvigorated the second half of the season. They're really hitting their stride, and there's always usually that one team. So I would be really surprised if they don't win out. I just feel like everything's going in their favor, and Detroit have been so bad for a long time, right? They're really giving their city something to look forward to. Dan Campbell, I really like him as a head coach. I think he's bought the locker room. He was tough on Jared Goff early on, but I think it pushed him and elevated him to the level he's playing right now. So I would be very surprised if they don't win out and sneak into the playoffs. And it'd be a great story to see Detroit be good, and it'd be great for the NFC North in general.
So if we're handicapping the NFC North for next year right now, minus any Bears draft picks plus all the free agents, we're going to sign are the Bears the fourth team in the Central?
No, they're ahead of the Packers.
They're ahead of Green Bay?
Ahead of the Packers.
I like
They
the
are?
Bears situation going into next year than the Packers. The Packers the Packers don't have the cap space the Bears have.
I agreed. And I think the Bears can be ahead of Detroit, and maybe, depending on the offseason, I'm not ruling out the Bears could even be the favorite going into next year if they have an unbelievable run here, or like at least a sexy pick. Why not? But right now, if Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year, which maybe is, maybe isn't, but I don't think he's walking away from $50 million. If you had to handicap it right now, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see them maybe trading him potentially, starting fresh somewhere in exchange for a Russell Wilson, a Derek Carr, and maybe some draft picks, something like that. Like I don't know. I don't know in Las Vegas if they really buying Derek Carr. He could be reunited with Devontae Adams, have Waller, have some weapons, Renfro, have good pass rushers there. Who knows, right? Never know.
Maybe the greatest offseason in the history of offseasons, which is why you should be subscribed to CHGO and live the dream.
Speaking of the offseason, just think about this, right? Obviously, we know we have to address things offensively, right? But think about this, right? If we just improve the defensive line, right? One thing, just defensive line in general, right? That's our main focus on the defense side of the ball, right? If we have 2 pass rushers and a 3 technique, I think we win 6 more games next year, at least, just based off that. Think about the games that we've been so close in that we couldn't stop anybody, right? Miami, right? Arguably one of the best offensive teams in the game. Offensively, we did our thing. Defensively, we couldn't stop anybody. So that's why people are talking about, we got offensive weapons, but I think defense is more important, in my opinion. Of chief
17-0, Hoge. 17-0, Bears.
No, I think Corey's making a good point. I mean, they've played an entire season without a defensive line. It's actually remarkable when you think about it.
When's the last time they had a defensive line sack? What week?
Well, wasn't
6,
there
7
one a
weeks?
couple weeks ago, and then we said that was the last one, the first one they had since the Washington game?
I'm embarrassed that I don't know this off the top of my head, but I will do research right now.
Yeah.
It might have been one where the quarterback ran out of bounds and whoever's closest to gets a sack. I honestly think that in an Atlanta game, I think Al-Qadim Muhammad might have got that, right? He ran the quarterback out of bounds.
We didn't get one in the Jets game? I think we got one in the Jets game. Hang on.
There was one a couple weeks ago, and that was the first defensive line sack they had since the Washington game. I mean, which is insane. It's been that bad.
They had 1 sack in the Jet game, and it was Armand Watts.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Watts.
So
Watts.
one sack defensive line in about 6 or 7 weeks, which I'm sorry, that doesn't get it done. And obviously we got to get Justin Fields a weapon at receiver. And let's see with the offensive line, right? I think Braxton Jones, he gets stronger. He could be the left tackle of the future. I think he'll be like a Charles Leno, really solid option. And now it's Alex Leatherwood time. This is truly evaluation time for him, right? If he can step up at right tackle and be an option there, I mean, he's a former first-round pick. There's something there. He's had mono and all that. He was kissing some girl. No, I don't know how he got it, but we got to see what he can do, right? Because he's a big, strong guy that's athletic. We got to see if he can be the right tackle of the future. If that is something that's really good for the offseason, right? Then we just have to get Justin Fields receiving, a true number 1. Because I don't know if Claypool is going to be that. I don't know.
All right, real quick, we're going to jump into some, but there's some good priorities. Actually,
and just to what Wood's talking about, there's a great piece by Nicholas Moriano at allchgo.com on Alex Leatherwood if you want to get more Leatherwood content. And so there's somebody on the roof at CHGO that's about to fall in here and kill us.
I think Santa's on the roof with his reindeer right now.
I smell something. This Leatherwood time, baby. Let's go.
You guys are excited about Leatherwood. Good. Hey, I want to tell you about Shady Rays because they never understood why sunglasses were so expensive. They set out to change it. You don't have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone and every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays is they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. And even with that strong of a protection program, they still managed to make quality that I can tell you with the Shady Rays that I had with me during the bye week. They're just as good as any expensive pair out there. Shady Rays customers seem to agree with over 200,000 five-star reviews, and they also provide 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order placed. They've donated over 20 million meals to date. This is exclusive for our listeners. Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades. Again, that code is CHGO.
Hashtag Shady Rays.
I don't know what that was.
I love my Shady Rays, man. I got 2 pairs somehow. I'm living the dream back at the Carm crib. I'm also living the dream.
That's perfect.
The sun is out. It's the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, it feels.
I wore mine last week on the golf course, and I'll tell you.
See, there we go.
The people I was playing against, man, it blocked them haters out. I'll tell you what. And I look swaggy, too. So when I was dropping 330-yard bombs, I had the Shady Rays on.
Bang, bang. Let's go. And by the way, you probably also were using your Next Evo Naturals to get that 330-yard bomb.
He doesn't need that for that.
He probably doesn't, but I do. And I need that smart sorb technology right into my Achilles that led me to another amazing 6-3, 6-0 win over whoever the hell I played yesterday. Clinically proven to help your body absorb the CBD 4 times better than regular CBD oil. That's right, Next Evo Naturals, because oil just doesn't mix with your water-based body as well as you would like it to. So you got to go for the Next Evo. They got the pills, they got the cream. They take you to the next level. And by the way, they're also giving you 25% off when you subscribe and spend $40 or more at nextevo.com/recover. That's right. You got to get that. Listen, take your body to the next level. Next Evo. nextevo.com/recover with the promo code BEARS. nextevo.com/recover, promo code BEARS. Body recovery, healthy inflammatory response, healthy joints, fast acting, better absorption. The team at nextevo.com's got you covered.
All right, let's take a look at the updated draft order.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Technically, the Bears lost in the tank standing. Although it could have been worse. We knew this was going to happen because the Bears lose the tiebreaker with most of these teams, and a lot of teams, because the Bears had the last bye, there's now stuff falling from the ceiling.
I mean, literally,
It's
just
fine.
literally having
It's
like
fine. It's not a person. It's fine.
you say it's fine. Just got cracked by sawdust, and who's ever up there, and that might be a bear, might be coming down at any moment here.
Yeah.
Hope that roof is sturdy.
I hope it's not a bear up there. Anyway, because of the Broncos winning or losing, they gave Kansas City a ride.
They were down 27-zip.
Yeah, they came back and made it a game, and then Russell went to sleep. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He went night-night. He got
Correct.
tackled and head hit the ground, and that was actually pretty scary, and I hope he's all right because that was not a moment you want to see. But anyway, that brought the Broncos back in a tie for the Bears, and they have the tiebreaker because the Bears don't have any of the tiebreakers in these scenarios, really. And so the Bears fell from number 2 to number 3. However, that Rams game, thank you very much, Baker Mayfield.
Let's go.
Way to go, Baker. I knew that was a good idea.
I should give credit, and I don't have it up right now. Maybe I can find it. But the tweet that was going around the other night, I think it was the only football thing I tweeted from France, but someone had a great tweet that the Rams basically Amazon Primed a quarterback in for their game on Amazon. It was like 2-day shipping. They got him in there. That was impressive.
That's impressive, though, to get a win after 2 days.
Corey, can you give us an idea how hard that is? Like, even if you're not a quarterback, to join a team in 2 days, and and play well enough to win, but let alone being the quarterback. Like, Sean McVay had to have been giving him not only the play calls in his helmet, but like the instructions of what to do at the same time, because that's incredible.
It's like in college, when you look to the sideline, he was probably like motioning everything he was doing to him, But that's impressive at the quarterback. Like a defensive lineman, a linebacker, you could kind of figure things out on the go, right? Defenses are usually pretty standard, and there's some things you got to understand. And probably if you're playing D-line, the D-tackle or the other defensive end is going to let you know what you got to do. But as a quarterback, you are making all the calls, all the checks. So that's got to be one of the toughest ones I've seen. And hats off to him for getting a win and scored 2 touchdowns in a matter of a couple minutes, I think it was, to ice the game. So hats off to Baker Mayfield. I know it's been a tough season for him and tough year, right? Getting traded, then getting released, and now getting picked up. So yeah, hats off to him. That's really impressive to get a win in that situation.
It wouldn't have made any sense for the Bears. I get it, but there was in the comments, and I got to admit that I thought about it when Baker was out there. Like, should we have picked up Baker? I don't know.
Honestly, you're talking about having a quarterback that can do the same thing as Fields. Like, is Baker in that same
not a really good
vein?
fit.
No.
I think most teams that are going to want him are going to maybe have an option of him as a starter potentially, like for next year, right? Like for him to go somewhere and compete with somebody, and then them draft somebody or bring somebody else in. So
yeah, and I read it like
Bears,
I know the Rams were kind of desperate just to have a quarterback play because they, Stafford's out and Wolford was dealing with an injury.
And he's Wolford.
But that's the other thing, and it's John Wolford, and I don't know, is Stafford done? He might be.
That's what I'm saying. This could be a thing where Sean McVay's like, hey, I can make Baker Mayfield a lot better, right, in this system, with his tool. Like, who knows? Matthew Stafford's played a long time, right? You got to think he's got a couple more years, maybe with this elbow, if it's worse than he thinks. He has a Super Bowl ring. Maybe he rides off into the sunset saying, hey, I did it. I'm arguably one of the most efficient quarterbacks. I threw for this amount of yards. I'm done.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, the Rams are just, because of how aggressive they were, cannot fix themselves for the next, 4 years. Would every single Bears fan sign up for that? We're going to, not right now, clearly, but like in a year or two, we're going to mortgage all our draft picks. We're going to go all in, and somehow, some way it's going to fall, and we're going to win the Super Bowl. And and I know it's hard to say as a Bears fan because we're used to being in this position, but we're just going to be irrelevant for a 4, 5, 6 year span.
Yeah. It's been 37 years.
Yeah, I understand.
But I think you take that. I think you take that. Yeah, to win. If you're saying they get a Super Bowl, yeah, I would do that.
How about just like a shot at a Super Bowl? Like they're.
Now you're changing it. You're moving the goalposts.
You're changing it. No.
Yeah. Well, just
so
a
you're
shot
saying like Super Bowl competitors every year, right? They got a shot to basically make it to the NFC Championship every year, right? Like,
no, he's
like
saying you get one shot. He's saying like you're good for 1 year, and then you've screwed up your traded all your first round picks for 5 years.
I'm putting you in the Super Bowl with a 50-50 shot to win it, and then you're screwed for the next 5 years. You doing that? That's basically what the Rams were. They were it worked. It fell their way, but they weren't like some dominant team that was just killing everybody.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple comps in a couple different sports where you could say why yes you would do that.
That's
look at the Cubs, who supposedly had like how long was their window?
Oh, they were gonna win it. They were gonna win like 5 and 10 years.
5 years, and they almost didn't win.
They were lucky to win.
Yeah.
It wasn't looked at it at the time, but they were lucky.
Just because you have a window doesn't mean you're going to take advantage of it. So I don't. Yeah.
Which was always the.
By the way, shout out to Bridget Condon from NFL Network for that tweet I mentioned earlier. Thought that was funny. The Amazon Prime comment. All right, let's talk.
Can I just rewind real quick before you move along? The Broncos, who are in front of the Bears now, they've lost to the Colts in overtime.
Yeah.
They've lost to the Chargers in overtime. They've lost a 1-point game to the Seattle Seahawks to start the season. They've had a touchdown loss to the Jets, 1-possession game. They had a touchdown loss to the Titans, 1-possession game. They've lost overtime games to the Raiders, and they've lost a 1-point game to Baltimore. Now, yesterday's game wasn't as close to the score, but it's another one-score game. I'm just underlining that the margin in the NFL is so damn small, and so I think we're kind of like the Bears. There's at least part of me. It's like the Bears are close. It's like you are and you aren't, all at the same time. That's another team that's just in the complete shitter, but yet they've been right there all season long. Denver has, and they're sitting there right with the Bears.
Well, and where I was going to go with that is I think it's a good indication they're probably going to win another game.
Yeah, but maybe not. I mean, Russell, when is he coming back? Hopefully they can beat Arizona.
He might sit out the whole year.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm him, why would you come back? I would milk
point.
that and sit off the rest of this season. Has been awful, right? You're not getting any better with what's going on. I think you just go to the offseason, get some better talent, and keep it moving.
Brett Rippon.
Maybe they don't win another game.
Shout out Boise State.
They're not going to be favored in any games.
So they got Arizona next week at home. That's a winnable game.
That's their most winnable.
If you're looking for something to watch Bears fans on Christmas Day, which is a terrible Christmas Day slate of games, but the Broncos are at the Rams.
I take that back. That's another winnable
That's
game.
a game you're going to want to root hard for our friends at DNVR to get a victory. They go to Kansas City. That's a loss. And then they finish against the Chargers, which unless there's some weird scenario where the Chargers don't have anything to play for.
Right. Exactly. If that game matters, they're losing.
That's a tough one. So, and that would give the second overall pick to the Seahawks instead of the Bears. Which is just a remarkable thing with that trade. Oh, man. They were so... I'll never forget. Our DMVR guys were in here when that trade happened.
Yeah, RK lit up a cigar.
RK lit up a cigar, Corey, in our other studio. That trade happened while I was standing next to him. They were so happy.
They scrambled, did an emergency podcast. It was amazing.
They were going to the Super Bowl. And instead, they might have the second overall pick and have to give it to the Seahawks. There's been a lot of crazy stories this year in the NFL, but is that the biggest?
It's up there. I mean, literally nobody thought it, but I was not a Russell Wilson moving on after everything that happened in Seattle because I believe in Pete Carroll. I don't think he's an idiot. I don't think this is going to work out the way you thought it was going to work out, but no one had it working out like this.
No, it's
the division though.
That's crazy. All right, let's talk about the Bears real quick.
Bears. Woot.
Top priorities for these final 4 games. Corey brought up Alex Leatherwood. That's a good one. For me, it's you got to figure out more about Chase Claypool. By the way, our caveat on this is obviously, yes, Justin Fields' development is important in the final 4 games. So it's everything but Justin Fields. But kind of going along with that, you have to understand what weapons you have around Justin Fields. You traded a second-round pick, a high second-round pick for Chase Claypool. And I feel like so far, what has been 4 or 5 games, we don't know much about this guy. The production hasn't been there. Maybe there's, it's taken a while because he's learning a new offense. Sure, there's excuses that go along with it. Fields was out for one of the games. He didn't play. But you have 4 games left. You have to have a better idea going into the offseason what exactly you have with Chase Claypool.
I think last game, though, he was a lot better. Before he fumbled the ball and kind of hurt his knee or whatever that was. It might have been a thing where he fumbled and, my knee. I heard that.
Yeah.
Guys do that. A lot of times, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, because I was like, oh, man. Guys like that are usually pretty flexible in situations like that. So I kind of thought he was okay, but I thought, maybe he is really hurt. But before that, they were really targeting him, and he seemed like a difference maker out there. So that's why it kind of sucked that things went down the way they did, and it kind of hurt his confidence a little bit in that game. But we saw a little bit of flashes where, okay, I see this guy can take over a little bit. But I agree with you. We need to see more from him. We need to see Harry. I like Harry. I think he's a big receiver, similar size to Claypool, maybe not as fast, athletic as well. We got to see what he can do, right? He's made some splash plays, but I feel like as a whole, we haven't played him as much as he should play.
Breaking news, by the way, that just noticing on Twitter, I'll send this to you, Lawrence, that Diane, it's Cindy. Is your private spot open now? And the response was maybe. Do you know who Jack Sanborn is? Thank you so much for continuing it on as that continues to flow. When you asked that question, by the way, I was sort of thinking like Sanborn, but that's not the responsible answer. So responsibly, to me, it's the offensive line. Like Alex Leatherwood, let's see what you can do. Are they going to take any risk with Teven Jenkins and perhaps just see what he would look like at tackle, which we've talked about? I would be interested in that. And along those lines, as they're doing that, let's get Justin Fields in that pocket and get him as comfortable as we possibly can the rest of the way, because we don't want him running all over the place with the shoulder, but also we don't want him getting killed in the pocket. So how that all boils together is what I'm going to be hyper paying attention to.
So, Carm, you said about Teven Jenkins to tackle. I don't think you move him. I think his natural position is right guard. I don't think you touch that because I think he could play. Go ahead.
No, I hear you, Woot, and I think you're probably right. But why not at least see what it looks like? What's the harm?
Because he plays at such a high level, right, at guard, right, when he's healthy. I think he's a little hurt right now, and I think if his back is questionable, I think you shut him down for the rest of the season, and let him get healthy. But don't you think it's hard to find guys that really can excel and play at a high level at a certain position? And now changing him from guard to tackle, it's such a different set and pass rush. It's such a different run fit. Everything's such a different from moving just from guard to tackle. And he's so comfortable over there. I feel like you have your mainstay for years to come at guard, right? So I just don't want to touch that.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about this a few times now. I don't think you mess with it. I think it's taken this long to get him comfortable at one position. I understand that now he's had some quotes where he's just admitting he's just getting comfortable and he still wants to be a tackle maybe. Yeah, I think all interior offensive linemen at one point were dreamed about being a left tackle, right? Highly paid left tackle, one of the best in the league. All
I'm saying is that you have the luxury right now, minus the terror. I think the best argument against me that I would make is that you do not want to put your quarterback in unnecessary danger. And by doing that, you very well might be doing exactly that, which is why I would say, Carm, shut up. But on the other side of that, if I like let's say Fields is sitting another game and Trevor's back there or whoever, and this dude hey, Teven, you want to be a tackle? I'd love to see what he looked like at left tackle just one game, just to see what it looks like right now.
You said left tackle?
Yep.
Carm, you can't just
do that. I feel like we
tried
that.
You can't because you're three. Corey, you're a defensive end. Tell him why you can't just take a right guard and say go. Stop.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't just say, hey, it's Wednesday. Go play left tackle on Sunday.
Yeah. I thought he was talking about right tackle. Okay, that's a more realistic thing. Yeah.
Okay,
but
fine.
Left tackle.
Fine.
We tried that last year. He got destroyed at left tackle. He's not. He's not a fit at left tackle. I could see maybe saying left guard just to see if he could play the left side at guard, maybe, right? But I feel like for what his strengths are, you want your right side to be road grader, strong as can be. I just think moving him, I just don't know if that's a fit because, Carm, do you think Braxton Jones could be an option at left tackle for years to come?
Absolutely. I just don't. I don't think he's ever going to be elite, Woot. That's what I'm saying. I think Teven has the chance wherever you put him to be elite. Minus.
I don't think so at left tackle. I don't think he could be elite at left tackle.
Okay.
I think guard is his natural fit, and just sometimes it's like this. Like he could be an okay right tackle, right? But he could be a really good right guard. Like I feel like sometimes it's just understanding what you do well. And like putting your ego aside of what you want to do and what you don't want to do, because some guys that want to play quarterback when they come to the NFL, right? And they realize real quick the Eric Crouches, guys like that. I got to play receiver if I'm going to be in the league, right? Like, so you have to understand what your role is. Everybody has a role, and it may not be what you want to do, but what is going to give you the biggest payday and allow you to play the longest. And I think Teven Jenkins at right guard will be a mainstay.
You know what you just did, Carm?
What did I do?
Okay, you had a somewhat legitimate argument where You're talking about a young, hot pitching prospect who couldn't make it as a starter, but found a role as the closer and was having a lot of success as your closer. And you're like, well, should we move him back to being a starter? Because, he's going to pitch more innings that way. It's a valid argument. But then you're like, it's August. Let's do this next week. You're starting the next game. You just don't do that. You don't take a guy who's been closing all season and say, hey, go throw 6 innings right now.
Yeah, but listen, I hear what everyone is saying.
You got to stretch them out.
I got it. I got it, Woot. I got it mostly in the chat, although I do see a couple people that are with me. Thank you very much. You are not trying to win these games. You have this. Would anybody? Is there any argument?
Also, try not to get Justin Fields murdered.
I got that part. And
so, Carm, did you like what he did last year at left tackle?
No, but he was not ready. He's had.
But right now his back is a little bit banged up, right? And
we really don't.
It's really his hip, but I think it's some connection.
Physically, he's not.
It is his back, Hoge. The back radiates to the hip.
Physically, he's not 100%, which is yet another factor. But you can't tell me that. Then if that's the case, then he shouldn't be playing at all, which is what you said 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
He can easily just get as much hurt at right guard as he can at left tackle, right tackle, wherever. Oh, yeah. So
that's what I said. If he's not 100% or he's not close to it, and he could harm his back, I think you shut him down for the rest of the season. You've seen everything you need to know, and he's a mainstay at right guard for years to come.
I got no problem with. I wouldn't even push back on that. If the dude's not, there's no reason for him to be put in a position where he's going to need some off-season surgery, that he's going to have to spend his time. I'd much rather him be doing yoga 7 times a day and getting as healthy as he possibly can and lifting some weights and moving towards next season than like forcing him out there if he doesn't feel well. Or he's
definitely banged up. You saw how he was taking on some blocks in the Packers game. Like he just looked like he didn't have any pop in the lower body that he usually has.
Listen, that was it was not a good game for him, and he also said a few weeks ago that he thought it would take him until the bye to get back to 100%. So maybe the bye week did him well, and he can finish strong this season. But real quick, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is our go-to when betting on the NFL this holiday season. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Right now, everyone can earn up to a 100% boost with DraftKings stepped up same-game parlays. Excuse me. And if you go to DraftKings Sportsbook app, place the same game parlay, combine multiple bets like which team will win, player props, point totals, and more. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code CHGO. Place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Teven Jenkins, the outstanding right guard, could be right tackle, left tackle, wherever you put him. He's just that damn good. He's also amazing when he's on the Chi-Town custom cornhole board.
You've seen him?
No. I'm making that up.
Like you haven't seen him play well left tackle.
But I believe it to be true. The number one cornhole provider for Chicagoland, that's our friends at Chi-Town Cornhole. They've got the signature box style that I know deep down that Teven could dominate. LEDs that light up the hole and exterior, handles for the easy carry. You're going to look like a stud at your corporate outing, your family outing, your tailgate when you're walking around with your Chi-Town Cornhole getting ready to go. Veteran owned and operated. These are pros, and they can ship it anywhere. And they also offer local pickups as well. A lot of flexibility in how you get your Chi-Town Cornhole. Check out their website, ChiTownCornhole.com. Also, you can follow them on Instagram at Chi-Town Custom Cornhole Boards. Shipping anywhere, anytime. Custom design, tailgaters, backyard barbecues. We love our friends at Chi-Town Cornhole. I'm not bringing up Teven Jenkins playing elsewhere again, but I do think that dude is so damn ass impressive that I think he could take on a slide over if at bare minimum to right tackle and be successful. But that's fine if we never see it. All pro guard is not a bad. That's an excellent development. So I'm just win-win, cake and eat it too. That's all I'm trying to dream up here in the final 4 games.
All right.
I get it, Carl.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Wood.
The there is some news that came out today from Hallis Hall. I want to get to that real quick before we end the show. But as we mentioned off the top, Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker will come back this week from their concussions, which is good news. They both missed 2 weeks. And, honestly, that's another thing that should be at the top of the list for these final 4 games. I'd like to see both of those guys take significant steps forward. I think Brisker's shown more flashes so far than Kyler Gordon. I think Kyler Gordon, same thing with Teven Jenkins. You have a positional conversation. Let's not forget Josh Blackwell played pretty well in the slot right before the break. I wonder, do you just try to play Kyler Gordon outside, maybe reduce the things that he's thinking about a little bit and see if you can come up with a different nickel option? I guess that would kind of surprise me if they do that, but that is something I would think about.
I agree with you, Hoge. I would like to see that too, right? Because he's kind of struggled at times, in that slot. So I want to see what he can do multiple positions, right? Now it's evaluation and see, hey, is he a better fit at a pure corner? And that could be the option, right? Like what we see from Blackwell. Vildor's another option as well. So we have options. So I just want to see what he can do. And Brisker has done a really good job. I kind of knew coming into it, the leadership he had at Penn State and just his ability out there. It's been awesome to see. So hopefully both of those guys can really continue to grow these next couple weeks.
You got a glimpse of what Blackwell can do. I would think you'd want to see more in the final 4 games here. Because, for the most part, I've been impressed with Kindle Vildor this year. He hasn't been great, but I think he's definitely a piece that you can have on your football team and feel comfortable with. But I'd like to see, at bare minimum, more from Blackwell if he can pass up Kindle.
One last thing too, I want to see Justin Jones at the nose.
Ooh, yeah.
At least for a game or two, kind of see what he can do. And hopefully Alan Williams and Eberflus are thinking about that for the future because, honestly, he's not a fit for the 3 technique. He's done a solid job, but I think at the nose he'd be a lot more athletic. And for what this Tampa 2 needs, I think he'd be a great fit for that. And if we get the 3 technique in the future, a real quick athletic guy, I think that'd be a good tandem of those 2.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see little stuff like this that we're talking about now. Like, how much time over the bye week did they talk about this? Because remember, this is a team that coming out of that mini bye, which was shorter, they all of a sudden they had these different wrinkles. That's when they changed the offense and got Justin Fields going. That's there were some positional changes in there. That's when they tried to take Sam Mustafer out at center and put Lucas Patrick there. He just happened to get hurt right away early on in that New England game. So we could see some adjustments like this that we're talking about. And now on the flip side, I don't think anyone wants to see them upset the Eagles. Like, don't come back too good like they did. Their last win was against the Patriots coming out of that mini bye.
Just play competitive. That's all we want to see.
Right?
Just be competitive. Lose the game, but be competitive. And real quick on the defensive line, I want to see Taco Charlton. I want to see Travis Gibson and Dominique Robinson. Right? I think you've kind of seen everything you need to know with Al-Qadim Muhammad. Just didn't work out the way we want to. But I want to see what Taco Charlton can do. I mean, he was obviously a first-round pick for a reason. See if there's anything in the tank for him. I mean, we talked about it. He was kind of the only one that was flashing in that last game, pass rushing from the defensive end. So let's see what all those guys can do.
And one other quick note coming from our Nicholas Moriano at Hallis Hall, where Matt Eberflus and a couple players are talking to the media. He did say that Khalil Herbert should come back from that hip injury next week. So he's not eligible to come back until that Bills game a week from now, but he should be designated to return from IR next week. That doesn't necessarily mean he plays against the Bills, but it means he can return to practice, and then there's a 3-week window to have him come back. Keep in mind that Bills game is on a short week because the Bears play on Saturday, Christmas Eve, and not Sunday, Christmas Day of that week. So tough task here in the next couple weeks here. Eagles, Bills.
They both have won 4 in a row. Philly's absolutely killing the Giants yesterday. The game still matters to them. They're only 2 games up on Dallas. I don't think we have a whole lot to worry about as far as winning a football game, but
Hey, I got one question for you guys about the running backs. Do you think the emergence of Evans at all, that kind of diminishes David Montgomery, potentially getting him back or lowering his value of what we offer him? I think it does.
I think they're so different.
I agree with you. But I just think sometimes, like in this league, they don't really value running backs like they used to. Like they just. I wouldn't be surprised if they lowball them. When it comes to the offseason.
Well, and here's the thing, though: your market is the market, right? So there's this is a big year for running backs on the free agent market. I don't think David Montgomery is going to be at the top of other teams' list either, right? And the Bears are going to value him more than most teams, I think, because they know his value inside that locker room. Exactly. And you're also going to have the how much does he want to return back to the Bears thing. So I still think there is a world in which they can come to a very affordable agreement to have him return to the Bears, because I don't picture another team blowing the David Montgomery market out of the way. Like, think about it. Saquon Barkley's on a free agent. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. So it's an interesting.
What kind of
situation.
number do you see? Do you 3-year deal, $15 million, something like that?
Yeah, like somewhere around there. Like I'm
gonna
$12 million, somewhere around there. 3 or 12 million, 15. Some.
See your future, be your future. I'm imagining your future. Let's save this tape here, Lawrence. Let's save the tape. David Montgomery signs a free agent deal in the offseason, and Adam Hoge can't believe the Bears wouldn't have given him that money. That's what I think is going to happen.
You think he signs with somebody else?
And you're like, dude, that's just kind of ridiculous that the Bears weren't willing to give him that.
Maybe.
I think that's my prediction of what happens.
He has a lot of value, but I just think with the emergence of Evans, it kind of like, with Evans not really in the picture, I'm kind of like, I like David Montgomery back. Ooh. But he has so much value in other ways, catching the ball out of the backfield, blocking, going to get you those 2 to 3 yards when you need them, leader, like you said. So there is some value that's maybe his stats don't stand out like other running backs there, but I think he does have value there for sure.
Yeah, look at Woot elevating Darrington Evans out of nowhere.
I mean, he's got some juice too.
He does.
We've seen it, right?
Yeah. Who's your best pass blocker though out of all those?
David Montgomery.
Who's the most important player on that team?
I'm with you. I would keep David Montgomery, but reading the tea leaves of
it's about numbers.
Yeah. What the way Ryan Poles has valued things, basically in line with how the rest of the NFL values things. See you later, Roquan. It sort of feels like it's going to follow the same.
I mean, there's a huge difference between Roquan.
Is there?
Yes, because
he's going to be the highest paid linebacker out there.
$100 million talking about positional value versus maybe $18 million talking about positional value. Like, there's a huge difference there.
I got it, but I still think that.
And by say, 18, like maybe over 3 years or something like that. So it'll be interesting. We got plenty of time to talk about that stuff. I'm excited to do so as well.
I don't want to go. I got nowhere to be.
We got to get Woot back in the simulator.
Corey's got places to be.
I got an appointment at 2. Come on, guys.
we got other shows here at CHGO too. But we will be moving on to Week 15 versus the Eagles. There are some interesting parallels between the Eagles and the Bears. Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields. We're going to be breaking all this down throughout the week. We're going to have some NFL draft talk for you as well. I'm also excited to tell you Corey will be here on Sunday for our game day coverage this game, pre and post in studio with us. So we get some bonus Corey Wootton this weekend.
We get to watch the game with Woot?
Was that I think the last game we got to do that was the one they won.
The Packers game.
Was it Packers?
Wasn't it the Packers game? Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking it was the Patriots game.
To be honest, I don't remember doing it ever, so that's just not good for me.
Yeah, but it'll be good, with the Brick Man as well, so it'll be good.
The Brick Man, brick by brick.
Brick by brick made it through somehow after. Did you see what he did on the
He drank his drink?
He drank his drink.
Yikes, that was disgusting.
With algae and everything else that was in there.
Algae?
Yeah, it was nasty.
What's wrong with that, man?
Nasty clip.
He's brags.
Dude wants to just prove his toughness.
Rise. They don't make them like they used to.
It's Monday morning.
Brick, baby.
I told you that David Montgomery is unnecessary.
God, Bragg said he'll bring.
I'm talking from the fans' perspective. Hey, I'm talking from the fans' perspective. Woo. So for the players.
Bragg says he's going to bring you some brick juice on Sunday.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. As long as you got some tequila or vodka, I'm good with that, baby. Let's
There
get
you go. I like that. Some tequila, vodka, chase it with the brick juice. Then you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Hey, we're out of here.
That'll be as tough as him, baby.
Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at The Card, at Corey Wootton. You can follow Braggs too, at GBraggs Jr. 23, at Nicholas Moriano, at House Hall right now. Make sure you're getting the updates from him, and at CHGO_Bears. We got you covered from all angles all week long. Good to have football back this week after the bye week, and we'll be right back here tomorrow at noon. Talk to you then.